Good morning, everybody. It's Marty the JavaScript Party. My buddy Rhett. I got a nut for her. Getting back into the routine. I think I was pretty sick for like the last couple of weeks. Definitely 2 weeks ago, I was sick, but I couldn't really tell. Um, my main symptoms were like just sleeping like 9 hours. Normally, I sleep like 5 to 7 hours, somewhere in that range, and I was sleeping like 9 hours. And then like sort of just being tired all day. So if that's all I end up with out of this season's, knock on wood, I would knock on wood, but my dogs will go, it'll be fun. Knock on wood. I can't believe the dogs didn't go crazy barking. Um, but I definitely feel a lot better now. I feel like we're in a getting back in the groove, trying to get stuff done. And I am working on this re-architecting my animations for uh, ThreeJS, my ThreeJS project that I like to work on. Basically, we're sort of in the final phases. Uh, I'm running unit tests. I did run some yesterday. See, what is the temperature? It is 37 degrees outside. I fed the cats. It felt good. I'm wearing red today because I have Frisbee in a couple hours, and I noticed that if you wear red during sort of sports like that, you end up with um, oh my gosh, that's crazy. I just saw like a news article about, I guess, some military action. So yeah, that's not really what this is about, but I was trying to look at the weather, and yeah, it looks like there's some crazy stuff happened last night. So let's go ahead and okay, so karma starting. Let's look at this guy here. Um, yeah, high of 57. I'm playing frisbee at 1, so it'll be 51. So it's gonna be really nice. I went out and fed the feral cats this morning, and they were pretty. Well, I didn't see any cats, but it didn't feel particularly cold out there. Um, but it is nice to kind of get back into the normal. This is when it's really nice to have a full-time position in a secure job because it was a rough couple weeks. I'm sure I'll be a lot more productive in the next few weeks. I think I did fine. I think they were happy with me, but I didn't do as well as I want to do. All right, so let's go ahead and pull in our Karma Jasmine. What is it called? Istanbul tests. And see, wow, we only have 6 lines. No, really, we only have 6 lines of code that aren't covered. We have three functions. And I think this is 830 to 836. Yeah, we have 6 lines, 6 statements, and all of our branches are covered, and ooh, 3 functions. So that's crazy. So these must be tiny functions. Um, so I guess we want to sort by statement. And I thought it looked a lot worse yesterday at the end of the day. It kind of makes me want to just run this again because that sure does seem like really, really good. Like a lot better than at the end of the day. I could have sworn I had some that were like in the 30s yesterday. And maybe it's hard to imagine. Yeah, see, everything looks good. Might be done with this today. Probably not. Um, ST animation. This is a brand new file. 88. Okay, so this has 4 statements. And I'm assuming 4 lines. 2 functions, 4 lines. Let's go back to here. Go back to here. And this is the other one, mesh entities. And that's this one. So this one looks like it's going to be super simple. Now, is this a potato? Yesterday I came up with the phrase potato. No, it is not a potato. This is an actual singleton thing. It's provided in root. It's got a shared service, and it has a simple little function that really has no reason to be in a an actual singleton, but I'm going to leave it here for now. But this is get st animation IDs for st mesh ID. Um, Basically, this could easily be reduced to one line of code because I could just say return and um, I think there's a lot of value. Yeah, I think there's value. I don't. Yeah, st mesh. I get the mesh. Oh, and then mesh ID. So I could add dot mesh IDs. I feel like this was already a little bit like difficult to kind of contemplate until I saw that it was returning numbers. It was a little difficult. So maybe it makes sense to. So I think it makes sense to leave this on two lines. I think it would be nice. I feel like this one is a bit cognitively heavy, um, but I don't know. It's a lot though. Get st animation IDs for st mesh ID. So I don't know. Let's go ahead and fix this one though, because this one looks super simple. So this is an stmesh service.ts. So I'm going to come over here and just sort of, I don't have too many. I thought I was going to have a ton of tabs open, but I don't. And then, all right. So, hey, Kiwi. So we're kind of back to normal with where my cat can hang out in here in the regular house. My son has a dog that's called a Staffordshire. And basically, I don't know if you know what a pit bull is, but it's like a pit bull, but tiny. Like they're not that tall, or particularly huge, but they're very muscular. They have huge jaws, huge faces, and just the sweetest dogs you can imagine. But they're super affectionate, and she loves to just pin the cat down and just lick her for all she's worth. And the thing is like the cat does not like that. It freaks the cat out. So she can't hang out in here, and so it gets a little bit complicated when they visit, but they're not. They are visiting today, but it's kind of nice out, so I'll let that work itself out. Um, so it looks like this is the guy who should get st animation IDs for mesh ID. Um, so let's go ahead and do that. It should return a list of animation IDs for a mesh. For a mesh. See, I feel like that actually is one of the best actual descriptions I've ever given. Usually I'll just sort of parrot whatever the function name is. But I like that. And I have worked in places where they did this really well. And when it was all said and done, that would be like at that particular job, that would be the first thing I would do. Anytime I got assigned a new project, I would figure out where the code that handles it is, and then I'd go to the unit tests and read all about the unit tests. Um, Now, whoever had set that up and whoever did that had been long gone by the time I got there, so I didn't really get to understand their their art. But let's go ahead. I guess we'll just get a base mesh. There's no reason not to. So we created a base mesh. We got the mesh ID back, and now we're getting that mesh itself back, and then we're calling. And it should have an ID. We by default we give things IDs. We give things animations. I don't think that'll ever go away. I think we'll always give some base default animations. I'm not sure about that, but and then I guess const animation IDs equals service dot get. And this, I think, really follows my sort of belief system of, and we give it a mesh ID. I don't even think we need this ST mesh. I guess we can use that though, because we expect, and this, like I was about to say, this is like freaking easy. ST mesh dot estimation IDs. I don't know if we can do this. It should be fine to equal. And if so, I think if it was, even if the numbers inside were the same, I don't know. Actually, I have no idea what's going to happen here. I do think we'll get 100% coverage though on this specific thing. Oh, maybe not. Oh, it's still running. Yeah, so we did get 100% and they all passed. So this, I believe, is an actual reference to a array. And this is a reference to the exact same array. They're the same actual thing. So if I were to do like animation IDs dot push, and since it's just a number, I should be able to just do one, right? Let's see. Let's see if they're still equal. I think they'll still be equal because I think this will actually change this too, because it's just a link to the exact um, same piece of memory, the same array. I don't know what is happening here. Yeah, so see, even it's weird. This is probably the hardest thing. One of the top three hardest things. There's three things that I think are really, really hard to contemplate in JavaScript that makes JavaScript more difficult than most other languages. And one of them is this. I have an ST mesh animation IDs, and then I have animation IDs. These are the same thing. They are not only are they are the actual same object. So when I push this one here, you would think, I think in most languages, this animation ID is its own standalone array of numbers. And since I made a change to this one, but I didn't make a change to this one, they shouldn't be equal anymore, but they are because it's the same one, which is one reason why JavaScript is so darn efficient because it reuses, it uses some, it uses it uses memory very carefully, um, in some ways. I don't know, but and I don't think the mental model that this is its own array and that it's different than this array. There's nothing wrong with that mental model other than it's just wrong, but it'll take you a long way. And you can get a lot done with that mental model. It's just every once in a while you're going to run into a weird little um, edge case that your mental model just fails to explain. And this would be adding adding something to this and it affecting this and it affecting this one is one of those weird little edge cases that will probably mess you up. I know that like I don't know, I've probably worked in like 20 places as a computer programmer, and I can't tell you how many times, probably at more than half of those places, within a week or two, I had fixed a half a dozen bugs that they had had floating around for years. So it was like, I don't know, we don't know. Like if you click this and you go there and you do this and you do that, it's broken. But if you do it this way, this other more normal way, it's fine. But for some reason, it breaks if you go to this one page before you go to that page or whatever. And it's almost always some sort of reference kind of thing where there's a reference to an object and something else is changing that object, um, but that reference isn't changing. I mean, that reference is changing, and it really screws people up because when you call this a constant and it's an array, you think, oh, okay, this is its own thing, its own standalone thing. But like, no, it's a pointer to a different array that other things are pointing to. And JavaScript won't clean that up, won't delete it, won't release that memory until every reference to it is gone. And that's why it's so hard to not create memory leaks in JavaScript. But anyway, so now this one is done. And let's see where we're at. We're looking good, I think. Okay, see, this is exactly what happened yesterday. See, I have other things broken now. But if I hit Control C, I think, and I hit Run Test, I do not like this issue. This is an issue that I hope this is the reason that they aren't supporting Jasmine Karma anymore. Um, because yeah, this is a perfect example where you'll be working and you'll be locally and everything passes and then you run it again and now everything is not passing. Um, and I think it has something to do with the order in which things get executed or something like that. But um, this is a real bummer, especially if like in some places it might take 15, 20 minutes for the unit test to run. So like if you have to shut everything else and restart it as soon as to get the same results that the CI/CD is getting, um, that's a bummer, and that's very time consuming. But for some reason, these two broke when a second ago they weren't broken. I mean, look, it's actually 3 files are now. Oh no, more than that. 4 files have missing statements now that weren't running when they were all passing a second ago, except for one. And I think that thing that I have where I said I want 100% coverage when um, I want 100% coverage when on each suite itself would make this go away. Okay, so here we are. Let's look at the. See, we're back to 4 lines, which is weird because I thought we just took care of a bunch of them. Okay, so yeah, now we are at this. So now, what if I hit refresh now? I'm curious. And again, this is a luxury for me because I've worked in hundreds of places. I mean, I've worked in tons of places where we run into issues like this, and I just can't take the time to go back and figure out exactly what the heck is breaking things. See, so now I'm down to 1 file. You guys all saw it. It was showing 4 files that were not covered, and now I'm down to 1 file that's not covered. And it's like, it's 4 lines of code, no branches, one function, I think. No, two functions on 4 lines. So we'll get this fixed, and then I think I need to get that other thing where even after it refreshes, it still gets 100% because I do think that is some kind of issue that will, like at the absolute worst time, it'll start to raise its ugly head. Um, that is just one of those things you just have to watch out for. Okay, so what is the problem here? I only see one function. It's saying that 2 functions aren't covered. Let's see. Oh, this function here isn't being covered. Feel like I'm going to try. I want, is this a potato or a singleton? It's a singleton. It's provided in the for root. Okay, so I think I want to pull this out as a new function. This piece right here. And since we're very close to the end, I'm not going to get too particularly worked up about testing everything. Like if we had like 100, or if we had a couple dozen, like a dozen, different lines that we needed to do and stuff like that, I would probably call this. I would probably what am I trying to say? Oh, I would probably like do the end-to-end tests and just make sure everything still works because I don't want to get too far. Like if I do something and accidentally cause a bug, I don't want to get too far removed from when I caused that bug. I feel like the sooner, like when you cause a bug, the sooner you address that bug, the easier that bug is to understand. So so I would typically, if there was a bunch of these, like I'm just gonna just try to get it working and move on. But I don't know. Maybe I do need to make sure everything works because I think we might end up spending a good bit of time on those other bugs, those other fails. All right, so this one is ST animation service. And I do think we are getting a bit crowded in the tabs. So we'll go ahead and Control P, ST animation service. And I'm just going to close all the others. And then I'm going to, and I'll tell you, knowing when to close other tabs is an important skill. I worked with this one dude. He was a very difficult person to work with. He was a great guy, but like just, it, I think Agile really screwed that guy up. But I mean, he was just such a just a believer in Agile, and then like nothing ever got done. We would do like he'd be like, "Oh, okay, we need to create an accelerator. We needed this. We needed that," and he would say all these words, and it was just like, "Man, this is cool. We're gonna have all this cool stuff done." And like literally a year later, nothing's done. A year. Um, all right, so I want this. Is this the right one? Oh, it's on line 67. I want this function. I want to tease this function out. You are a good girl. Okay, so all this does is get. Oh, so this gets the animations that we wanted from before. All right, so this get and okay, so from dictionary, get animation from dictionary. Okay, so this is going over animation IDs. Oh, okay, so this. Oh, this is getting from. Okay, so this. Okay, so I got to reset because I had let myself get too deep into this. Okay, so I am in the animation service. The animation service has a dictionary. That dictionary has a list of IDs and their animation object. And so I have a function that says for a set of STIDs, get me the animations. So it wants an array of all the IDs. And so first thing this thing is going to do is it's going to iterate over the animation IDs that were passed in. Okay, and this actually returns the whole animation object. Okay, so given a list of animation IDs, it's going to give you a list of the corresponding animations. Oh my God, that's so much simpler than what I had in my head a second ago. And then this function will get a single animation from the dictionary. So like another way I could have done this is like just loop over all the IDs and then do like a for loop over all of them or a for each. And then in each one of those I could do it. Or I could just do a regular old fashioned for loop. And all of that would unit test a lot easier. But I'm going to try this. So this is get animations for STID. This would be get animation for STID. And I do think, do we already maybe we already have one. Get animation from dictionary. Okay, so we already have. something that will return a whole animation or undefined. Okay, so we actually already, I think we already have this function, right? This animation dictionary. All right, so let's see if we can just use that. So this takes an ID, an ST animation ID, and it returns either undefined or that. So, oh, which is this. It's just literally this function. Okay, so we're already using that function. So can I just, I wonder if I can just, can I just, here, let's put this on its own line. Oh, okay, the problem is that this little bit of work has to be done here. I think that needs to, okay, so let's just do this. Get ST animation for ST animation ID. So instead of plural, it's singular. Instead of taking an array of numbers, it takes a single number. ST animation to number. And instead of returning an array of ST animation, it returns an ST animation. And then it's basically just this code right here. And we just need to change this to ST animation ID. And we are going to just deal with the fact that it is like if we ask for an animation that doesn't exist, it's going to break. It's going to return an ID. So I think I can just do this now. I don't know for sure. I think so. This gets a bit abstract for my brain. I think we need this. I don't know if we need to bind it. So this does not return a function. It actually, like this, returned a function. So sometimes you'll see that you'll want to execute it. That is if you're going to return a function from there. But I just want to use the function, which like technically, this code returns this function. It's a very weird thing. I'm not going to deny it. So first we'll see if everything passes. And then looks like everything rebuilt over there. We're not seeing our new function get animation. So for some reason, the actual unit test didn't run, it looks like to me. Okay, so now we have two functions that don't ever get ran, but this would be a lot. Now all we have to do is run this with a number and it'll work. And actually we can test the undefined situation. Like this could be, we could actually filter out any undefineds. That's a good idea. Actually, and that is going to be so much easier to do in unit test context as opposed to actual real context in app building context. Okay, so everything seems to be working. what is this? This just gets the animation IDs. I don't know, maybe we need to change. Yeah, I'm assuming that something in what all the steps I just went through will actually do that. Will actually run this code. So now, I guess if we call this and we don't set up any animations, we will actually get an undefined. If we just pass in like a array of numbers, um, like a one and a two. There are none, so it'll get undefined. And then I guess what we want to do is add some filtering logic to remove the undefined from the list. Okay. Probably should console log an error too. Like if I try to get an animation ID and that animation ID doesn't exist, that will probably not be a big deal in the way it currently works because nothing shares that animation IDs. But in the future, it sure will be nice if I don't just swallow that error. Um, but for now, I'm just going to pass in this and see what happens. I'm very curious what even happens if. Okay, so this should get ST animation IDs for ST IDs. I guess that is should give me a warm fuzzy that I guess that is a good sign. If your it statement list of ST animation IDs for a list animations. I think I like doing it this way. That's camel case for a list of ST animation IDs. And I guess maybe it makes sense. Well, okay, first of all, I don't think this should be private, but I guess it would be fine if it was project private because we'll call it when we get here. And maybe that's a good sign that something should be private. Like I've definitely worked at places where they make way too many things private. And then I've worked at places where they don't ever make anything private. Um, Now, the current place I work with, one developer in particular just does an amazing job perfectly picking out which method should be private and which one shouldn't be private. And it is nice. So that is definitely a skill I want to get, that I want to develop. ST. Almost. Start. Okay, so I'm passing in an array, and in that array, I'm going to give it two IDs. What am I doing wrong here? ST animation. Did you mean? No, I meant ST animation. This right here. Okay. Guess I need to import it. Import the interface. Sometimes it'll just do it for you. Sometimes it won't. Okay, so let's just see if this breaks. I kind of just want to run. Okay, yeah, so we do have one failed unit test. And that it'll be okay. Let's just focus on this one. So I think we put an F right there, and I think I might have to reload. Okay, nope, it just ran this one. Okay, yeah, it's because it was undefined. And I don't know if the error, where the error is. It's probably, I don't know. Maybe it won't map an undefined. I think it just won't map an undefined. So where is it complaining? On line 74. Okay. So it's dying here. I don't know. Maybe I should say or undefined. Because I think that is true. Or undefined. Now see, it's saying, hey, this is not that. I just don't know. So I think that this is like an edge case that is not particularly friendly to the map function. I think the map, probably the intention of the author with the map function was for things that can be mapped. This is an example of something that wouldn't be able to be mapped. So I think what we need to do is change this to a like this. Okay, so we're setting it that now we can make it a constant because map, I believe map creates a brand new thing, which probably should have been okay. I don't know. And now what we want to do is we want to loop over each one of those. And let's just do an old-fashioned loop. It's just been a long time since I've done one. Okay, so let I equals, it's probably literally been a year since I've actually written one of these things. And I used to write them like 10 times a day, every day. What? Okay, thank you, Rhett. And then it's like, yes, you are a good girl. I'm coding. What are you doing? What are you doing? Length. What was it? Yeah. I is S animation length is less than or equal to I, right? Then I plus plus. Man, I am doing that from memory. All right, so while so we're going to loop over it, and we're going to keep looping over it as long as I is less than the length. But when it's equal to the length, it should leave. And then const st animation, which is of type st animation, or it's undefined. It could be undefined if it isn't in our dictionary. And I think we're going to run into this bug in the future. That's why I'm putting so much effort into it now. I think in the future, when I'm trying to delete and add animations and share animations, and let's say I have an animation that's used by 5 different meshes. If I delete it from one of the meshes, I need to make sure it still stays in the dictionary because the other meshes might use it. And I might actually want to set up a situation where I don't delete the actual meshes, um, unless I specifically say delete this one. Um, I don't know. I don't know how I'm going to end up doing that. But um, this is this dot get. And then now I don't have any reason to even have this function. Doesn't get animations, which I've misspelled anyways. Um, and that's that's for animation IDs, and then I. So whichever one I'm currently on, whichever index I'm on, um, I can do this. And then dot push st animation. Okay, but it's the transpiler is helping me and saying, hey, that doesn't have to exist. And st animations has to only be. So we're saying, hey, if it's not undefined, if it exists, it's not falsy in any way. So it's not a Boolean false, it's not an empty string, it's undefined, it's null. I believe null is also falsy. Um, that's one of those things that they'll ask you in interview questions. And then if you're like me, if you have like decades of experience, you're just kind of like, okay, so I don't even know what I just did. So it's saying that I still have a problem. Cannot read property of undefined on line 82, which I'm not. Oh, silly rabbit. I still have this code. Let's see if that's better. Are you better? You feel better? You feel better, Rhett? Yep. Okay, so now it's passing. It's just that I was still trying to map it. So I have shown this code to a lot of young developers, and they usually like this a lot. A lot of them have never seen like a good old-fashioned original mint condition 1990s style for loop. And a lot of times uh, seeing this more basic um, version is very nice. Now, one thing, huge advantage that this has is I can actually say break and stop a for loop. So I could just say, like, let's say I'm looking for something, I could just say, hey, if once I found, say I want to find three of them or something like that, and then I could just break out of the loop or whatever. Um, but anyways, so we don't want this anymore. So just getting rid of that should help this situation. And then I don't know. So I don't know. I don't think we're gonna get 100% coverage and the reason I don't think we'll get 100% coverage is because I need to call one. Well, maybe not. I don't know. I think I need to call one that's got where there's actually something in the dictionary. Love you, darling. All right, see where we're at. All right, so I feel like we're back to the original issue. Yeah, see, we're back to this thing. So what happens if I hit refresh now? Okay, so now we're back to it doing like testing everything. I think we only have one file. Yeah, there it is. So we have one branch not, and I bet you it's the unknown and 3 lines. So all that work for 1 line of coverage. Okay. This is weird that this doesn't get called because we did pass in and it's saying that this never got called. That is really weird to me. Like, how would it even have a value there if it didn't get called? Anyways, let's go ahead and add a animation. Okay, so we want to create an animation, right? Okay, so we can create an animation, and I think when we create an animation, it will add it to our dictionary. Okay, and it's going to return the animation ID. I don't know what this count is even for. Oh, okay, so the count is only there as temporary code so that we can do this, like we can have different types of animations, so all the animations aren't the same. So I'm not worried about that. Const st animation is equal to create I think it's called service dot create animation, and we're going to just give it a count of 1, and then we want to and this is the st animation ID. I feel good about this because it's like the ID is, I mean, why do I feel good about this? I feel good about the, why, what? That's a number, right? Oh, oh, that returns the whole animation. Okay. I love you too. Okay. So we get the whole ST animation, not the ID. And see, we would have caught that immediately had I strongly typed this thing. And I would have said, oh, it's an ST animation ID. And then it would have been like, that's not a number. Okay. And let's just make this 200 so we can be 20,000. So we should get one undefined and one defined. And this actually returns get animations. Oh, okay. So that actually returns the whole thing. Okay, it's weird because it feels like it's not create. We get the ST animation is for ID, and then it's trying to for loop. Does it? Okay, did we break anything? I guess that's. Oh, everything's still working. Very confused on why this is saying that this line of code is not covered. I mean, it's so weird to me that I'm literally. Okay. So this get okay, so let's just focus on this one. It doesn't look like it listened. Oh yeah, it did. Okay. Okay, so that is supposed to call this guy right here. ST animations for STIDs. Go undefined. And then if and it's saying it's like I don't know, it's weird. I mean, what happens if I just get rid of this line here? This is so weird. Okay, so yeah, so now we're not calling it at all. So this says this statement never got covered. All right, so now let's bring it back. And we gave it an array with 2 items in it. 0, 1. Okay, now we go back to here. So it got into the for loop, and then, but it never called this function. Okay, I'm going to come over here. So I don't know exactly how this gets called. I'm very just, I don't know. I don't know what to think. So it's saying that this line of code, get dictionary, get animation from dictionary for animation ID 0, like 0, right? So let's see if we can find this. I can never remember where you can see this. Checking I. Oh, comma I. I don't know if this shows up in here. I think it'll show up in here, but I think it might also show up like if we do an F12 here. It is weird though. Trying to see the console logs in here is weird. Spec has no expectations. Object. Yeah. And then it was the I misspelled it. Cheeking, right? I wonder, you know what? Let's try this. Never tried this before. Let's try something new. Windows Plus. I'm gonna use this guy right here. Collision. Save. Let's see if it shows up over here. Okay, I don't see that anywhere. And let's go F12 on the F12 console. I don't see it there. It's definitely not going to be in here. I don't know where that is. Let's hit refresh and see if it shows up. So it's upset about this. It's saying, hey, that has no expectations. Oh, well, here's our console log. I don't see it anywhere, though. Checking one. Ooh. Oh, maybe. No, we definitely seem to be getting. I wonder if I can do this. Let's try this. So now I feel like I'm just fighting the tool now, which is kind of a bummer because it feels like a waste of time. But maybe I'll learn something. We'll see. We'll try. We'll try to learn something here. Trying to learn something. So theoretically, the debugger should pop up. Like I'm curious. Let's come over here and see if we can make it happen. F12. And this is so like typical. Like this happens all the time. Like when you have unit tests and stuff where you just end up, it gets really screwy when you like, okay, so where the hell does that function even get called? Makes you wonder if it ever even gets called. Get ST. This is our problem, right? So get ST animations for STIDs. Figure out how this guy gets called. I usually don't like to think about things, so it doesn't act like it's getting called from anywhere. That's weird. Like I have this function that appears to not be getting called. That's probably my very favorite thing about working on front end is that we can just comment stuff out. That is funny that the solution might be literally just delete the function. We don't need that function no more. Okay, so now let's go ahead and remove the fit. Probably don't even need this whole, that's not, I don't think that, well, yeah, let's just do that. Let's go step by step. Good morning. Mm-mm-mm. See, now we're missing a whole bunch of freaking statements. It's not, to me, that's the worst thing about Jasmine Karma. It starts acting very inconsistently. Okay, so now we have 100% coverage. Nothing seems to be broken. It's so wild. I mean, that is like good code. This is really good code. Why did I write that code? I have no idea. Don't know why that code even exists. All right. That's one of the things, like, I'll probably, like, fall asleep tonight thinking about that. Like, wait, what did that code do? Why don't I need it anymore? I'm assuming I went down some sort of path that, I guess, and wrote some code, and then it's just like, don't need that code anymore. And there's a lot of maintenance. I love you too. Good girl. All right, so now we have 100% coverage all over the place. Let's go ahead and delete this. And now, curious if I go like this. I would love to just have that problem again because I need to get to the bottom of that. Need to figure that out. Is it working right now? Is that what's happening? All right, this is a new one. All right, so we have 100% coverage. Now let's go ahead and just change something, right? Man, I felt like that was the one I just got rid of, but apparently not. It looks a lot like that, but this is for the mesh ID. Let's say var hello equals world. And I guess I would actually, the whole point is to do it this way. See, it's wild. You can make certain changes, and most changes, there's no big deal. That was, whatever that was some kind of very strange edge case. if I just add something here? Does stuff. So I think that may be the first time I've ever been doing a unit test and then been like, um, um, and then just been like, oh wait, I don't even use this function anymore. Like I don't know that that's ever happened to me before. And I guess that's why I don't like if it happened a lot, if that was a common sort of thing that happened all the time, I probably would be like, okay, so adding a new function, I don't know, but we definitely need to keep an eye on that. So, um, and I don't have everything has an expectation, right? I don't have that warning. Okay, I'm gonna hit Control C. I'm just actually going to restart everything. That one, like, I really do want to get to the bottom of that one because that where like sometimes it shows 100% coverage and sometimes it doesn't. Um, because like that one has caused me a lot of pain and suffering. And I would love to figure it out in this sort of less, this, I guess, I don't know, what would the millennials call it? This safe space. I want to do this as opposed to like when we're on deadlines and stuff. Okay, so all of that seems good. I think passed. That's like one of those things. Like there's a few things that telltale signs that things are about to get uncomfortable in an environment. And I would say the first top number one is if you're in an agile environment and they start saying the word commitments. Once they start saying the word commitments, like you won't hear that word. When they bring agile in, you'll never hear the word commitment. And they'll be like, "Oh, we're just trying to determine velocity. We're just trying to do like we're just trying to make like say what we're going to do and then be able to predict that we're going to do." And then one day, just like out of nowhere, they'll inject the word commitment. The word commitment suddenly starts becoming part of like you'll hear it in every meeting. Oh, we have to make sure we live up to our commitments. We have our commitments, 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 commitments. And then it's like, okay, it's changed. It went from, hey, this is a fun way for us to sort of just kind of determine what a reasonable amount of work is to, okay, we're about to really start getting very, we're going to start, we have a set of psychological sort of motivators, and we're going to start to apply those psychological motivators. Um, so, that's no fun. But anyways, another thing is when you start seeing that thing that we saw where like you make changes, you come back and your test coverage is different. And then like you restart it and then you're back to 100%. And then you stop and you make some changes and now you're at 68%. Once you start seeing that sort of lack of stability, that's a really bad sign. And I would like to like undo that. And I think that the solution to undoing that is when those things do show up, like run that suite only and try to get 100% coverage on the suite that is inconsistent. Um, and I think that will solve the problem. Anyways, I think I'm ready to do a commit. That'll be a good thing to do tomorrow morning is commit this all this code with this re-architecture. And then I don't think we have like after and that that should be one episode. And then I don't think if we go to GitHub, I have any other issues other than the delete. I think that's all that's left. This was a huge rabbit hole, and this was sort of the end. I think we're at the end of the rabbit hole, although I'm really strongly considering doing one more thing. Let's go to issues. Okay, so this is the issue, and then delete needs to delete all the objects that are part of the animation. And so, like, if we go like this, uh, actually, I'm not ready to commit now that I think about it. I go here, and if we look, F12, we can see that we have all these objects. And then if we hit delete, we went from 9 objects to 7 objects, but it should be 0 objects. Now, the thing is I think what I might want to do is add another view in the route. And I don't think I'm too worried about like issues because I don't think this isn't going to be like a advertised linkable view. Um, that basically is this, but in the UI. And the benefit to that will be for me will be that then I can create an end-to-end test that actually ensures that when we delete everything, all of these are gone. Right now, I don't think there's a good way for me to test that all of these are gone. Um, and I would like to lock that into the foundation of this application. So that is that. So actually, before I was going to sign off, but before I do that, npm run Cypress open. So this is a Cypress open is a script that's inside of my package. Let's see, let's look at it this way. It's way up here at the top. Cypress open, and basically that runs npx Cypress open, and that will open up Cypress, and then I can execute all of the end-to-end tests and just make sure that I didn't break anything. I did actually I deleted a whole function for some that it appeared I didn't need anymore. So if I do need it, that should show itself on Cypress. Cypress opens. It's 10:59. We're still in the morning. Bye bye. So I'll do my other, I think it's flashcards video here in a second. And then then I have some errands to run, stuff to do, and then I have Frisbee at 1 o'clock. So 2 hours, and it is 39 degrees Fahrenheit now. It's a bit tempting to talk politics and stuff in this platform, but the reality is like I live a certain life, and I have certain things that happen to me and that I am exposed to and that I see and all that. And I can only speak on like my what makes sense in the way my life works. And like it might be useful to like well, obviously it's not going to be useful hardly at all to anybody because one is the vast majority of people who watch my videos aren't in the United States, so they have a completely different set of politics and all that. And I sure as shit can't talk on their politics. I don't know a damn thing about their politics. And then B, like I live a very unique existence, and my unique existence makes me pretty good at some sort of evaluation. Like I watched legislation being made for artificial intelligence, and I was absolutely dumbfounded at how idiotic I thought what they were doing was. I was like, this is so stupid. What a stupid way to do this. And then a year went by, the whole session went by, they made some laws. It was like, wow, those are very good laws. Like I was calling it, I was like, yeah, this doesn't work at all. But the like the process of making legislation is so very, very different than the process of writing working software that like I really was not at all qualified to speak on how they should make legislation. Now, how what the legislation says and does, sure, that's very important to me. But like how they do it, I was absolutely unqualified. I was very qualified to have my opinions of it, and my opinions were completely wrong. Um, and this is just last year. So, like, my opinions about a lot of things are completely wrong for other people's life existences. But I need to have opinions so that I can operate. So, like, it's kind of pointless to share political opinions or thoughts and stuff. in this for me. Because I'm not afraid to do it or anything like that. It just like I don't see any point. I don't see any good that can come from that. My wife, she also has she actually has a lot of followers and stuff. She has a very active um, social media presence, and she does talk politics from time to time, but still very like, hey, this is how it works for me. This is how my life operates. I can't speak to other live experiences that don't even come close to mirroring my personal life experience. But I think my vote is valuable. Like if I go down and I vote my conscience, um, that is a necessary part of democracy. But so anyways, all the end-to-end tests pass. So obviously that, or it seems very clear that was no longer is no longer that function wasn't needed. Um, so who knows what that was all about? That's crazy because I thought I tested pretty thoroughly while I was coding. So, all right, so there's that. Looks like Cypress end-to-end test pass. It looks like we are ready for a super commit. Looks like that'll be a fun thing to do on Monday. I do think I'm gonna actually let's just go ahead and do that now. Let's see, create a table at entities. No, slash data slash entities. Create a table at data slash entities that shows the current. I don't even know what we call that. And current ID. What are those things called? I don't even know what they're called. Let me see. So this is called recyclable IDs. I think that was under general. Okay, sequence table. So I think that's what I want to work on next. I've gone back and forth and back and forth. First of all, like it's going to be like a fairly straightforward task at this point. It will get nothing but harder with time, and it probably won't be that difficult to actually maintain. But that's what I'll probably start. I'll commit this and all that and pull down this branch, create a branch and pull this down. And basically we're going to have slash data slash entities. And then that's just basically going to be this table. Let's see. This is a table. And honestly, the biggest reason, there's a lot of reasons, but at the very top of the list, the biggest reason is so that I can lock down this. I feel like and there should never ever be a time where I add a visualization, delete the visualization, go back over here, and anything is left over. But there are going to be times where I want to be able to delete something. Like maybe I want to delete an animation, but I only want to delete it from, like, let's say in the near future, hopefully we'll have the ability to have both of these have the identical, use the exact same animation. And then when that happens, if I delete this one, I don't want the animation to be deleted if it's being applied to this one as well. So that logic is going to get a lot more complicated. It's going to be very difficult to implement. It really is. It's going to be confusing as hell. It's going to be so abstract. So I anything I can do to give myself an advantage and reduce the chances of botching that, I'm going to do. Hour and 15 minutes. Happy coding, everybody. Bye.